The professional edition of Windows 10 comes with Hyper-V, which allows you to run virtual machines on a Windows 10 desktop. Now, from a troubleshooting standpoint, the thing that you need to know is that when Hyper-V is enabled, it changes the way that the Windows 10 network stack works. So let's take a look at what these changes look like and what they mean to you from a troubleshooting perspective. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and right-click on the Start button. And I'm going to go to Run and type Control and click OK. Now, the machine that I'm on right now does not have Hyper-V installed. This is just a basic Windows 10 desktop. So I'm going to click on Network and Internet. From there, I'll go to Network and Sharing Center. And then I'll click on Change Adapter Settings. So as you can see, I've got one network adapter. Now if you look at the name of the network adapter, Microsoft Hyper-V Network Adapter, the reason for this name is that you're actually looking at a virtual machine right now. So I don't have a physical network adapter. I've only got a virtual network adapter, but Hyper-V is not installed inside of this virtual machine. So for the purposes of what we're looking at right now, just pretend that this is a physical network adapter. I'll right-click on it and go to Properties and take a look at the various items that are enabled. We have Client for Microsoft Networks is enabled. Phone printer sharing for Microsoft Networks is enabled, as is QoS Packet Scheduler. Internet Protocol version 4, that's PIP v4, and then Microsoft LLDP Protocol Driver and Internet Protocol version 6. So we've got all of these services that are enabled for this one network adapter. Now with that said, I'm going to click on Internet Protocol version 4 and click Properties, and you can see that there is an IP address that's assigned to this particular adapter. And this is just an address that is specific to my own network. I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of this. And now I want to install Hyper-V. So I'm going to drop back to the root of the control panel. And then I'm going to go to Programs. And then I'll go to Turn Windows feature on or off. And this brings up a list of the various features that are available in Windows 10. I'm going to select Hyper-V, and I'll click OK. And so now Hyper-V is being installed, and I'm prompted to reboot the computer. So I'm going to pause the video for just a second while this machine reboots, and then we'll take a look at the changes that were made to the networking stack. Okay, so Hyper-V is installed, and while the video was paused, I created a Hyper-V virtual switch. I had to do that while the video was paused because the process of creating the virtual switch would have disrupted the recording. But let me show you what I did. I'll type Hyper-V in the search box. And I'll open the Hyper-V Manager. And then what you would typically do is go to the Virtual Switch Manager and choose the new Virtual Switch option and then click Create Virtual Switch. And then there is a screen that appears after that asks you a couple of specifics. That's the basic process, but you can see the virtual switch that I created right here. It's called my virtual switch, and you'll note that this is an external virtual switch. And the reason why that's important is because an external virtual switch latches on to your physical network adapter. So let me cancel out of this. And I'm going to open Control Panel. And just as before, I'm going to go to Network and Internet, Network and Sharing Center, and change adapter settings. Now as you'll recall, earlier I had a single network adapter, but now I've got 3. So let me show you what's going on here. First, we have the Ethernet default switch. So when I created the virtual switch, the Windows OS actually sees that as an extra network adapter. So right-click and go to Properties. You can see that all of the basic components are enabled for this switch. If I select TCP/IP, you can see that the address that's assigned to that is 172.28.0.1, which is different than the IP address that this machine was previously using. So I'll cancel out of this. Then the next one is the Hyper-V network adapter. I'll right-click and click Properties. So this is the one that corresponds to the physical network adapter in the system. Now remember, I'm using nested Hyper-V. I'm running Hyper-V inside of a virtual machine, which is why this is called a Hyper-V network adapter, but normally in an environment where you've got a physical network adapter. This particular property sheet would be bound to your physical network adapter, but the interesting thing here is that notice all of these checkboxes have been cleared. So we don't have the client for Microsoft Networks enabled, we don't have TCP/IP enabled. So this needs to stay exactly the way that it is in order for networking to work properly. The only thing that should be enabled is LLDP protocol driver, and if I scroll down you can see that at the very bottom we've got the Hyper-V extensible virtual switch enabled, but those are the only two options that should be enabled. Let me cancel out of this. So then we have this third network adapter, and this is V Ethernet, and you'll notice that it says My Virtual Switch. And if I right-click on this and go to Properties, you can see that all of the normal things are enabled, and if I look at TCP/IP, now we have the IP address that had previously been assigned to my machine. So what's going on here? When you create a virtual switch in Hyper-V, that virtual switch gets bound to a physical network adapter. Because the virtual switch is using that physical network adapter, Windows can't use it itself. So it creates a virtual network adapter and assigns your normal IP address to that virtual network adapter. So that virtual network adapter connects to the virtual switch, which in turn connects to the physical network adapter. So that's why this says V Ethernet. This is a virtual network adapter connected to my virtual switch, which is the name of the virtual switch that I created through Hyper-V. So all of this is to say that now that Hyper-V is installed and I have an external virtual switch enabled, now my physical network adapter can't be used in the usual way. Instead, all of my parent machine's traffic has to go through this virtual network adapter. So that's just something really important to keep in mind if you're doing troubleshooting on a Windows 10 machine that has Hyper enabled.